morning. Welcome. This is a special edition of Yoga Intermissions. Try this at home. Hip, hip, hooray is our theme today. My name is Karen. Welcome from Vermont to Salt and Sand Studios. This is my vacation edition for you. You're welcome to watch it at any time, and I hope that you are going to practice with me. This morning, as you can tell by the hip, hip, hooray, we are working hips. We'll go ahead and get started sitting in a comfortable seat, maybe with a cushion or a block underneath you. This morning we'll go for about 45 to 50 minutes, including Shavasana. In your comfortable seat, perhaps Sukhasana or a half lotus or full lotus, and if you don't know what any of those things are, there are no worries. This is just yoga. It is your practice. It is not mine. So if something doesn't work for you, you can go ahead and adjust it or stop doing it or do something else. Legs crossed, long spine, hands either resting down on the thighs or maybe up, or perhaps a more meditative position whereby the back of the right hand is cradled in the palm of the left with the thumb pads touching and the hands drop down toward the lap. Nice long spine, as I mentioned. Part of that can be, you can partly achieve that by tucking the chin a little bit. Notice the breath. Deepen the breath. Add a little constriction at the back of the throat for the breath of victory, Ujjayi breath. It begins to warm up the insides a bit more deeply, and creates an opportunity for focus and concentration. As you continue to breathe this deep, cleansing victory breath, consider an intention or perhaps a motivation for your practice today. It might be something simple or maybe something aspirational. See if you can loosen the calves, drop the knees a tiny little bit more. And let the palms press together at your heart. We'll begin the more active part of the practice with the sound of Om. If you're in a room with other people, you might do it silently, your choice. We'll take a long breath in through the nose. Make your way into a tabletop, coming face down, big toes touching, knees nice and wide, and the forehead resting on something. That might mean you need a cushion or a block or something underneath your chest. Sitting bones are reaching back toward the heels. I'm going to go ahead and bend my elbows to support a tiny shoulder issue I have been experiencing. The head rests. We allow the belly to drop and send the air, the breath, into the low back, the sacrum, that nice flat part at the bottom of the spine that crosses behind the hips. Imagine that that sacrum could get wider in the space you're in. Hands come parallel with the elbows. Find your way into a tabletop. Knees are stacked over the hips and the shoulders over the wrists. We're not collapsing into the spine here, but rather pressing the floor away with the tops of the feet and the hands. We'll go ahead and float the right leg behind us. Actually, let's keep the ball of the foot on the ground and find a little rocking forward and backward, stretching out the sole of the foot and the calf. Once the shoulders stack over the hips, use the glutes and the belly to lift the leg away from the ground. Take a peek over the left shoulder to swing the right leg behind you and outside the mat on the left side. Drop the shoelace side of the foot down. We'll glide the hips back as if the front of the right hip is moving toward the left heel. You might find forearms feel good here. We're opening up this entire side of the hip and glutes. Our hip hooray part 1. Using the belly, the glutes, the quad, and the hamstrings, fortify the back leg and float it back off the mat. Draw the knee to your nose, breath out. Inhale, extend the leg. Reach now the left arm in front of you and see if on a breath in, the arm can come out to the left and the leg to the right. We're keeping the foot flexed. Draw the arm and leg long and front and back again. Exhale, knee and elbow together. Inhale, extend. And bring the hand down to the mat. We're going to go ahead and bend the knee like you're stepping on the sky. Move the leg up and down. And then draw the knee toward the ground without touching the ground. Like a little fire hydrant posture, we're going to go ahead and lift the right knee up toward the right shoulder or just out to the right side. And drop it back down. Maybe a little sway, hip circles, cats and cows here. Before we take all of that to the other side. Inhale, left leg long, ball of the foot on the mat or the ground. Movement forward and backward, finding stretch. Still some strength working in the arms and the shoulders. Draw the belly in and up. Shoulders over wrists, left leg floats away from the mat. Look over the right shoulder, swing the leg over the right leg, draw the front of the left hip backward, knock your pillow down on your foot, and the front of the left hip draws toward the right heel as you find an extension in the spine and maybe bring the forearms to the mat. Come back to your three-legged tabletop, left leg floating. Knee to nose. Inhale, extend. Pause for a breath out. Next inhale, right arm floats in front. We draw the right arm to the right, the left foot to the left, seeing if we can keep the left foot off the mat. Arm and leg reach long. Knee and elbow come toward one another. Another breath in, extend the body. Hand down to the mat, knee to nose. Inhale, leg long, then bend the knee toward so the foot reaches to the sky. Pump the leg up and down. Draw the knee back down as if you're about to touch it to the ground. Then lift it up, fire hydrant posture. Knee comes down all the way to the mat. And find your movement. It's the beauty of yoga, the opportunity to find what works for you. Shift this pillow out of the way. Hands walk forward just a couple inches so you can tuck the toes and hover the knees over the mat, pressing the chest and the sitting bones toward the thighs, sort of a crouching downward dog. Big breath in, thighs are activating. Exhale, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Nice long breath in through the mouth, through the nose, and out the mouth. Long spine, inhale, come to the tiptoes, bend the knees on a breath out. We're going to walk the hands back toward the feet for a forward fold at the back of the mat. Which seems like it should be called a backward fold, but obviously not, because you're not moving backwards. Elbows bend, hands cup an elbow each very lightly, and the head and the arms get really, really heavy. The breath out, release the hands to the mat, press the floor away like you're a flower absorbing water from the earth to rise upward, face lifting to the sun as the arms follow nice and tall. Exhale, palms together at your heart, Samasti Tihi. And a breath in and out. Drop the left hand down toward the thigh. Reach the right arm nice and high. Long breath in. Exhale, belly strong, tilt over to the left. Press more energy into the outer edge of the right foot. Lift the heart sky high. Inhale, both arms float high. Exhale, right hand outside right thigh. Long breath in makes the torso nice and long. On an exhale, it tilts over to the right. Breathe in, sweep the right arm up to meet the left. Press the palms together. Lift the arms nice and high. Exhale, hands together at your heart. Slowly, but not necessarily in a straight line, you're going to walk toe to heel all the way to the front of the mat. Starting to feel the power of the legs and your balance. Once the feet are at the front of the mat, mountain pose, hands drop by your sides. Nice broad collarbones. Inhale, sweep your arms overhead. Soften the knees to breathe out for a forward fold. Palms glide up to the shins for a half lift. We're looking for a long spine here. Ardha Uttanasana. Sitting bones behind. Exhale, release and fold. Inhale again, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, belly up, float to standing. Arms reach for the stars. Modified chair pose, hands at your heart, knees bend. Imagine that the sitting bones are drawing behind your heels. Draw up to the balls of the feet. Scoot the sitting bones closer to the heels, not all the way down, finding balance. Maybe the hands intertwine behind your low back while you're balancing to open up the collarbones. Thighs are active, belly is active. Breathe in. Exhale for a fold over your legs, heels drop down. Maybe your bound hands move away from the spine. Perhaps they don't. A breath in. Exhale, hands release to the mat. Once again, half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Find that long spine, shoulder blades. Draw together, exhale, forward fold. Draw the left leg way to the back of the mat. Runner's lunge. You might move that right foot out to the right to support your balance. Really squeeze the left knee toward the left quad. Left fingertips down, heel of the right hand on the low spine. Breathe in, long back. Exhale, twist. Nice big breath in. Exhale, hand drops to the mat. And the back knee drops to the mat. As wide as you can make the feet front to back and still stay stable. Back toes untucked. Press into the front foot. Find modified Anjaneyasana, knee down lunge. If you like, the arms might sweep overhead. I'm going to keep mine by my sides with the palms facing forward. If your arms are overhead, rotate your shoulders so the pinkies face one another. See if you can sink a little deeper into the front knee. Maybe even scoot that foot forward to start to find hip, hip, hooray, part 2, which is opening up the hip flexor here on the left leg. Tuck the tailbone by livening up the left glutes and drawing the belly in and up. You'll find a little bit more opening in that hip flexor, the psoas, if you press energy into the heel of the front foot and the top of the back foot. Float the arms in front, then lock them into the shoulder blades, shoulder sockets, one of those parts of the body. And we'll intertwine the hands in front of the heart. The palms face the heart. Elbows nice and wide. Big breath in. On an exhale, twist over to the right, cupping the right hip with the palms and the chin drops. Adding a little bit more energy into the hip flexor opening. Big breath in. Exhale, come forward. Hands plant around your front foot. I'm going to find a half split, shifting the left hip over the left knee, extending the right leg, shifting the toes toward the torso. Maybe the hands come back toward your body. You might pick a block or place some cushions under your hands. Heart reaches forward, breath in, tuck the tailbone, fold over your leg. You might not come very deep. In my real time, it is 7:35 in the morning. So I'm finding things a little bit tight, thinking about my hip, hip, hooray choice. On the next breath out, sole of the right foot plants on the mat. Hands come inside the foot. We heel toe it out to the right, maybe scoot it back a couple of inches to find a lizard twist. Hands are under your shoulders, and then you take the right hand, place it inside the right knee, press the knee away from you. The toes are pointed to the right. The back foot sends energy into the mat, or you might decide to take a quad stretch by bending into that left knee, reaching around with the right hand, which might or might not come into connection with your foot or ankle. Hand plants under your shoulders. Right foot points forward. Scooch it more toward the center of your mat and bring the hands to frame your foot. Back toe tucks under to lift the hips. Come into a long-legged, wide front to back fold over the right leg. Inhale, heart forward, knee over the ankle. Collarbones wide, runner's lunge. Exhale, extend the leg, fold. Inhale, peel forward, runner's lunge. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, runner's lunge, just to release the back foot halfway up the mat to find Parsvottanasana, pyramid pose. You might move the feet apart, left to right a little bit. The right hip bone reaches behind you, as you fold over your legs. Next breath out, gracefully step the left foot up to meet the right. Maybe a little space between the feet, maybe not. Drop the sitting bones, draw your way into chair. I'm going to keep my arms in cactus. You might raise yours overhead. Left arm forward, right arm behind. Yes, we're working hard with the belly, with the quads in our east-west twist chair pose. Next breath out, arms reach forward. Inhale, left arm behind you. Exhale, arms forward, breathe in, shrug shoulders up. Exhale, release the shoulders, gently fold over your legs. A half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, hands plant to glide into your runner's lunge with the left foot in front, the right foot behind. Adjust as you need. Finding power like a tree trunk in that back leg. And working the belly energy away from the thigh. It doesn't mean the belly is away from the thigh, but the energy is drawing that way. Right fingertips down, heel of the left hand at your low back, a twist. Breathe in. Exhale, left hand to the mat and drop your back knee. Modified Anjaneyasana, hands by your sides, or full Anjaneyasana with the arms overhead. Adjusting as you need. Wobbliness can be minimized by moving the left foot out to the left. The knee will follow. Heart opens up for your back bend. And sink into the front hip crease a little bit more to begin opening up the psoas on the right side. Press energy into the heel of the front foot and the shoelace side of the back foot. Arms lift in front, lock back into your shoulders. Bend the elbows to the sides, the fingers intertwine. Maybe intertwine in the awkward way. Working the right glutes, the belly, breath in. Exhale, twist to the left. Hands cup your left hip and the chin drops. Inhale, arms in front, heart, front and center. Lock the arms back into the shoulder blades. I did it again. The shoulder sockets, hands drop down to find a half split. In Ardha Hanumanasana, their half split, doesn't really matter how close the head gets to any part of the leg. Think about a long spine. Next exhale, sole of the left foot plants on the mat. Scoot it out to the left and back just a tiny bit. Point the left toes to the left. Adjust your back knee if need be. Lizard twist. Left hand returns to the mat. Left foot heel toes in so that you can place the hand outside the foot. Back toes tuck under to extend to a runner's lunge Then lengthen the front leg to fold over it. Find a little movement with breath here. Peel forward, breath in, runner's lunge. Exhale, lengthen the leg, fold over it. Inhale, runner's lunge. Exhale, fold over your leg. And once again, inhale, runner's lunge. Just to bring that right foot halfway up the mat. Adjust your hips so they square to the front of the mat. Fold over your left leg. Aiming again for a long spine as much as possible. Maybe there's a bend in your front knee to make that happen. Big breath in. Exhale, step into a fold at the front of the mat. This time we'll take yogi toe lock. Feet are a little apart. Peace fingers wrap around the big toes. The thumbs rest on the big toe pad. Breathe in, find a little bit of a lift for a long spine, belly in and up. Exhale, fold over your legs. Bend the elbows to the sides of the mat, finding a little more space to work with. Nod the head. Shake the head, breath in. Exhale, release everything. Press your way to standing. Nice, long, slow breath in. Arms reach to the stars. Super tall, long side bodies. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Take a step back. Find a high plank. This is our first vinyasa. So maybe you drop your knees for your low plank. High plank, we drop the butt a little bit, round between the shoulders. Knees can drop down for chaturanga. Heart shifts forward, come halfway down. Elbows are like bookends. Then we move into a back bend. Exhale, come back to your down dog. That might be through a tabletop or maybe child's pose. Few breaths in and out. Left foot moves an inch to the left. Breathe in, float the right leg nice and high. Hip, hip, hooray, part 3. Open up the hips. Stack the right hip over the left and bend the right knee. Extend the leg. Breathe out, Crescent Warrior. Right foot inside the right hand. Stay on the ball of the back foot. Float your way up, shoulders over the hips. I will find cactus. Your shoulders can come straight overhead. Press energy into the back leg. Breath in. Back bend, sink into your front knee. Inhale. Exhale, open up, Warrior 2. Another hip, hip, hooray. In Warrior 2, hips are facing the side of the mat. Juicy bend in your front knee. Arms float wide. Press lots of energy into the back foot, which is parallel to the back of the mat. The gaze comes over the right fingertips. Flip the front palm, reverse. Lift the heart toward the sky like it's attached to the stars. Warrior 2. Reverse. Warrior 2. Hands to your hips. Extend your front leg. Lift the right toes off the mat. Spin them toward the long edge of the mat. Adjust your stance if need be to bring the feet parallel. Energy from your fingertips into your hip crease. Drop your shoulders. Draw the belly in. Shift the heart halfway down. Half long spine. Sitting bones reach behind you. Big breath in. Exhale, fold all the way down. Imagine that you're pressing the ground away to shift and lift the hips toward the sky. Head's heavy. Walk the hands over to the left foot, maybe outside it. Inhale, hands swing through center. Breathe out, they walk to the other side. Inhale, hands through center. I'm going to point the left toes to the back of the mat by spinning on the ball of the foot. Heel and toes now parallel. Windmill open for warrior two. Your front knee is bent. Reverse the warrior, lifting the front palm up. Warrior two. Once again, lift the left arm, reverse. This time we'll extend the front leg, keeping our reverse torso, seeing if we can ensure the hips and shoulders are stacked. We move the arms into warrior two shape. This time, shift the right hip a little behind you. Sorry, a little toward the right, so to the outer part of the right foot. Belly still strong. Trikonasana, we're going to find it over time, reaching the left arm as far forward as possible before we drop it and float the right arm high. This is too much on your upper shoulder. You might bring the hand to your heart or to your low back. Love this shape, all the cool triangles of the body. Big breath in. Exhale, hands come inside your front foot, your left foot. Come to the back heel. Heel toe the left foot out to the left. We're going to find our way to lizard pose, taking your time to find the right stance for the body. Maybe drop the back foot. Left foot peels open like a book, so you're on the outer edge of that foot. Perhaps you stay here, or maybe the forearms walk forward. Hip, hip, hooray, part, I forget, 5 or 6. Forearms might come to a block or the mat or a cushion, but that is not required. A little bit of rounding up between the shoulder blades can go a long way. And rather than letting the belly kind of drop toward the ground, you're going to gather it in and up. Hands plant once again underneath the shoulders. Sole of the left foot returns to the mat. Back toes tuck under. Float into a three-legged dog with the left leg floating high. Yes, we are opposite where we were. Press the hips back, the chest toward the thigh. Open up the dog. Maybe peek under the right shoulder to help square the heart. Breathe and extend the leg. As you exhale, Crescent Warrior. Power up the right quad. Power up the left quad. Activate the right glutes to tuck the tailbone. Big breath in for your heart. Opener, exhale, sink a little deeper into the front knee. Breath in. Exhale, open up, warrior two. Yes, we're sort of taking it all the opposite way. Reverse your warrior. Warrior two. Reverse. Warrior two. Hands to the hips. Lengthen your front legs. Swizzle on your left heel to face the side of the mat once more. This time we're going to draw the heels off the mat, draw them in and down. Sink into temple or goddess pose. Both heels lift off the mat. Sink a little bit deeper. Keep the belly nice and strong. Pause. You got this. You got it. You got it. You got it. Tuck your tailbone. Keep the belly long and strong. Drop the heels. Hands to the hips. Lift back up. Bring your left foot parallel to the back of the mat and point the right toes forward. Bend back into the right knee for warrior two. You might need to adjust your stance, whatever feels right for the body. Fortify that back leg and the belly. Right knee moves away from the midline. Reverse the warrior. Warrior two. Reverse. Right leg extends. Arms in a T. The left hip shifts toward the outer edge of the left foot. Right arm reaches forward. Forward, 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 forward. Keep going, keep going, keep going. You can do it. Drop the hand down, Trikonasana. Return to warrior two. And we'll windmill down, finding lizard pose on this side. You'll need to move the right foot way to the right. The hand will follow. Left knee might drop to the mat. Peel the right foot open like a book. Adjusting the back knee as necessary. Hands walk forward until the forearms come to something. On this side, my hip hip hooray requires a little bit of support. Hands plant once again underneath the shoulders. The sole of the right foot comes to the mat. Left toes will tuck under. Find your way into Malasana, a prayer squat. So the feet as wide as the mat, maybe a little wider. In your hip hip hooray, it can feel really good to move left and right, keeping the hands either down below the shoulders or maybe at your heart, or maybe you try them down first on the mat and then move them into your heart. Maybe you find a little stillness and steadiness in the feet. Elbows press into the knees. The spine gets as long as you can make it, dropping the bottom. Whatever way works for your body, you're going to come to a seat. You're going to bring the soles of the feet together, knees apart. Sit up nice and tall. Maybe the hands on the ankles or the inner arches of the feet. Hands walk behind you. Shift the front of the body nice and long. Lift the heart to the sky. See if you can drop the knees a little more. We're finding a little teeny back bend here. We will come back to this one more time, so don't feel compelled to go really deep. Shoulder blades squeeze. Stack the shoulders over the hips. Extend the legs long, maybe with a little bend in your knees. We didn't do a lot of hamstring opening. We're working toward our staff pose, hands by your sides, heels, calves, thighs, sitting bones into the mat. Lift the torso away from the ground. Drop the shoulders. Arms flow forward. This time they lock into the shoulder sockets. Got it. Long, long belly. Reach forward like you're hinging at your hips. Pause for a moment. Breathe in. Reach forward. Hinge at the hips. And one more time. You can drop the hands. Maybe the knees need to bend a little bit to find a nice long spine as you fold over the feet. Allow for the outer edges of the feet to start to draw toward the shoulders. It can be a little bit hard, but in all fairness to the hamstrings, because there's more than one on the back of each leg, generally speaking, you're going to peel the pinky toes more toward the shoulders. Inhale, lift up. Draw the right knee into the heart to find a little twist over the right side. Backhand and arm more like a guide than a kickstand, so that you're lifting from the belly and twisting from the belly. On an inhale, return to center. Drop the right knee out to the side. Maybe adjust your hips. And the heart reaches for the left shin. Once again, we're hinging rather than folding or rounding. Left toes aiming right up like a connection to the moon is taking place. Long breath in, rise up. If you normally take pigeon on your back, supine pigeon, supine figure 4, you could move into that here. Otherwise, if you take it face down, prone, you're going to swing around onto the right hip. Extend the left leg long behind. Unless pigeon's really super duper hard for you at this moment or always, you can sink into the right hip, bend the left knee before you find your fold. If the hip with an extended left leg, if the right hip is away from the mat, it is beneficial to place something underneath it before you find your fold. If you'd like to work into a back bend, a sort of pre-king pigeon or full king pigeon shape, feel free to do so. Ultimately, we'll meet folded over the front shin, or if you're on your back, with the left knee gathered into your heart and the right ankle crossing it. Hip, hip, hooray, part. I'm not sure who's counting. I might say it's 7. Hip, hip, hooray! Hip, hip, hooray! Hip, hip, breathe in. Hooray! A really lovely place to reconsider your intention or motivation. This is one of those polarizing postures. It's also one that you breathe into for a few breaths, so we stay here for a bit. Sometimes the lists start here. So maybe this is a place where you end that, acknowledging that that's what the mind is doing, and move on to focus on the breath and the opening of the right hip. Hands plant back under the shoulders so you can swing around onto the right hip. We're going to take our twist on this side, extending the right leg. The left knee draws into the heart. If you're like me, you're now feeling, wow, my right hip is much more open than my left. Hip, hip, hooray. Reach the spine long. Exhale, twist. Point the right toes to the sky. Draw the heart forward to find Janu Sharashasana. Lift up to move into pigeon. Fallen angel, something underneath your hip, maybe supine figure 4. If you decide to take this on your back because you did on the other side, you might stay on your back. Following this, your choice. Hands plant under the shoulders, remove any props. As I mentioned, we'll come back into an upright Baddha Konasana, the soles of the feet connect. Might scoot halfway forward on the back, on the mat. We'll sit up just for a moment, working our way into our final 4 or 5 minutes of yoga intermission, hip, hip, hooray. Draw onto the forearms, lift the heart, drop the head, gather the belly in, press the ground away with the forearms, and one at a time, you'll shift the forearms out of the way to find your way to Supta Baddha Konasana. I have a wonderful friend who's probably late teenage, twin sons said to her, "Hey, Ma, you got to make us some Supta Baddha Konasana." Which she did, and they said it was delicious. Sanskrit soup. We're going to draw the soles of the feet onto the mat, hug the knees into the heart, finding circles with the knees in support of softening the spine and massaging the sacrum. And if you like, move into a twist for 3 breaths on one side. The knees are gathered into the heart. Gaze is opposite the knees if that feels okay. And kindly return the spine to the mat. Knees bent toward the sky to shift the hips in the opposite direction so you can drop the knees once again in their opposite direction. Gaze over the shoulder that is away from the knees. And one final movement into perhaps a squeezing of the knees into the heart. Realigning the spine as much as it normally would be, top to bottom. Find your way to your final resting posture, Shavasana. That might be back in Supta Baddha Konasana. You might draw the legs up the wall. Or perhaps in the more standard expression, that legs extend on the mat, feet are wide apart, flopping out to the edges or beyond the edges of the mat. Shoulder blades kiss the mat. Palms face up. Long breath in and out. Begin to deepen the breath once again. Imagining they're absorbing the air from the feet all the way to the crown of the head, grounded to the material world and conscious of the space above you. Reach the arms overhead. We'll find a full pencil body stretch or body pencil stretch or whatever you like to call it. Reach the fingers overhead. Breathe in, toes in front. Breathe in. Exhale, release it all. Roll onto one side. Knees into your chest. A return to your intention or motivation. A moment to consider what you might take with you off the mat and into the world today. Press yourself up to a comfortable seat. Hands draw together at your heart. We celebrate the power of this practice, the tool of the internet that allows us to practice together, and the beauty of the practice of yoga that teaches us strength, agility, flexibility in the body and the breath, to train the mind for strength, flexibility, and agility. We'll use the sound of Om to celebrate all that. Breathe all the air out of your lungs. Long, full breath in. Om. Thumb knuckles connect with your center forehead. May all beings be happy. May they live with ease. May they share joy. Namaste. Thank you for joining me. My name is Karen from Salt and Sand Studios right in central Vermont. It was great to be with you for this yoga intermission session. Hip, hip, hooray! Please like, share, donate if you haven't. Don't worry if you don't. And hopefully I will see you soon. Thank you.